I'm so glad that you described it as a crisis. That word right there is very appropriate, especially in light of Gallup's State of the Workplace report, which surveys 3 million people, and they've been doing so across the past 10 years. And what they've been finding is that only a measly 15%, 15% of employees around the world are engaged at work. And that doesn't mean soon to be married to their coworkers. It means that only 15% are involved, enthusiastic, or committed. And you have to invert those stats for a moment. That means that 85%, the vast majority of the workforce, is disengaged. They're checked out, or worse, they're actively sabotaging their employers, which is an absolute terrible state of affairs. I mean, just reframe those odds another way. Just imagine for a moment that there was an 85% chance that by wading into the waters, you'd get bitten by a shark. Now, I don't know about you, I'm staying firmly affixed on the sand. Or just imagine there's an 85% chance that by walking into your office, you'd get mauled by lions. I don't know about you, but I am only working from home. And yet this is happening every single day in organizations all over the planet. And here's the kicker. 70%, conservatively, 70% of the variance in employee engagement scores falls within the purview of their people leaders. And therein lies the rub. Most leaders suck. Which I know is not exactly eloquent for a keynote speaker, so let me reframe this by saying that most leaders are underprepared and underqualified. And I'll be the first person to tell you that as a leader. I wasn't born with the requisite traits that confer leadership. I wasn't born with the physiological, morphological, or behavioral traits that lend me the propensity to act first in group coordination settings, which is the most raw definition of leadership. But the good news is that leadership is a skill that can be taught. We can learn leadership, except 60% of people never receive any leadership training throughout their entire career. I mean, this state of affairs is abysmal. And of those who do receive any form of leadership training, by the time they do, their first time that they receive any form of leadership training, they're 42. That's the average age. So they're in the back half of their career. It's no surprise that we're in this crisis as you've described it. But let's bring it back to the central question here. Why is this happening? So the modern operating environment for leaders at the moment is characterized by a triple black swan. 3 events that would have been staggered in decades past converging simultaneously: wars, plagues, and recessions. And while we're trying to navigate that backdrop, we're doing so with another triple threat, which is godlike technology, crumbling medieval institutions, and primitive brains that haven't received a significant hardware upgrade in at least 10,000 years. So with all of that being said, what's happening right now is leaders are wholly unprepared for the moment at hand. They're defaulting back to grossly outdated playbooks for a world of work and beyond that is rapidly changing every single second.